Little yin yoga for you today. So I have with me 2 blocks. If you don't have blocks, you can use books, pillows, something sturdy, maybe like a sturdier bolster or something. So we're gonna go ahead and just come to a seated position. We're just gonna start with a little bit of mobility movement. So maybe roll the shoulders, and then maybe rock to side a few times. Exhale, inhale through center. Exhale, inhale through center. Maybe bring the hands back behind the back, find a little stretch. Maybe head comes forward, reach and extend the fingers back, the hands back. Maybe it's first thing in the morning and you're feeling really tight. It's the best time to do yin. We want to do it when our body's cold so that it doesn't go into the muscles, but it really drives down into those connective tissues. Goes a little bit deeper. So for our first yin pose, we're just going to go ahead and come into a wide leg fold. So I have my blocks with me. You just bring them out. Find a length that works for you. You can choose all different sizes. Just find what works for you. And we're just going to go ahead. You can bring the hands to the elbows, drop the head down. I'm going to keep my feet flexed. And we're just going to stay here for a couple minutes. Inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth. And we're going to work towards breathing in for a count of 6 and exhaling for a count of 8. This is a good breath pattern that I have found that I've benefited by. And if you can't do that, if that's not available to you, or just not something you feel good or comfortable doing, you can take that to any number that sounds good to you. So maybe that's inhaling for 4 and 6, or maybe that's 3 and 3. But just working towards, I feel like, that exhale, drawing that exhale out. I'm going to draw that exhale out in order to tap into that parasympathetic nervous system, that relaxed nervous system. Allows the body to change. And just allow the mind to relax. Maybe you're focusing on that breathing pattern. Or maybe you want to take a mantra. Maybe I am strong, I am open. Open to change, open to a newness in my body. Maybe this is the first time you've done yin and you want to try something different. I'm just going to take a couple more breaths here. And I'm just going to go ahead and come up out of that pose. Just bring the blocks forward. And we're just going to find a little movement. Maybe a little rock with the hips from side to side. Maybe even shake those legs out, right? It's really good after we hold stretches for long periods of time to find movement, right? Because when we hold them for a long time, we're I can't think of the word right now, but we're holding to the point, and then the blood will flow right afterwards. So we're just allowing that refresher of oxygenated blood to flow back to our body. Kind of like when we put something around our finger and hold it tight, and then the blood flow comes back, right? Okay, so now we're going to come into a butterfly pose. So just bringing the soles of the feet together. Now you decide what feels good for you here. Maybe you can bring the elbows all the way to the floor, or maybe you want to come up and bring the blocks forward, or maybe bring them a little bit more forward, but keep this active. I don't want you just to fall. Let's bring the hands out, maybe palms facing to the sky, and just drop the head towards the feet. So by keeping our palms up, we're keeping this active and alert, okay? So we're not looking for more of a restorative approach. We're still working, breathing in, breathing out, finding that breath pattern once again that suits your body. And once you get in the stretch, remember to try to stay in that position. If it's too much, if it's not really a good sensation anymore and it's pain, come out. But just remember that mantra of I am strong and I am open, and believe in yourself. Focus on that inhale and focus on that exhale. Visually imagine that breath allowing you to stay in this pose longer. Use it. Focusing on the breath will help your mind to not wander or to not think of the pain or to not think of the good pain, to not think of wanting to come out. Just keeping our mind focused. We're training the brain as well as we're training the body. Staying with that breath. And just take a couple more breaths here. Maybe you're starting to feel the difference in the body. Using that breath and extending that exhale allows the body to change. So maybe you notice that the body's becoming a little bit more open. And just take 2 more breaths. Inhale and exhale. And 1 more. And we're just going to come up slowly, maybe wiggle the knees first. Bring them out in front of you, shake the legs, shake, shake, shake. Bend the toes, reach forward, drop the head towards the knees. And point the toes, flex the toes. And we're going to come into our next pose. So we're just going to come into like a half butterfly this time. So you're going to bring your left heel in and slide it towards the inner thighs. Right foot goes out. And then you decide once again if you want to, and play around with this. Maybe you need to go this way and feel the stretch. And that's going to allow a little bit of stretch in the spine and in the hip there. Or maybe you want to go this way and feel the stretch. I found that it's different for different people. You know, we think of these typical stretches, and go ahead and keep the foot flexed, and then I'm going to choose to go this way. But we think of these poses just having to be a certain way. But maybe you feel it differently, maybe, I don't know, just play around with it, be creative. So just drop the head, and just connect back with that pattern of breathing. Working towards that longer exhale. Maybe you want to audibly hear your breath. Maybe you don't want to work into an ujjayi breath. Maybe you want to have an inhale through the nose and then open the mouth and just audibly let it go. Maybe you're starting to feel a difference, or maybe you're starting to feel some different sensations, but stick with it. You're doing a great job. We're going to go ahead and come up. Put the blocks in front of you. Maybe stretch the toe, wiggle the leg. Maybe you want to bring it in, stretch forward and out. And we're gonna just go ahead and take a little forward fold for a moment. So inhale, drop the head forward, bring the belly towards the thighs. Go ahead and find a little stretch here. Maybe find a little wiggle. Maybe pedal the feet. Stretch the toes forward, flex them, point them, and then we're gonna work towards the other side. So once again, find the balance. If you've done the different stretch on the other side, go ahead and repeat. So maybe it's going this way, maybe you're finding the stretch that way, or maybe you're finding it the same direction. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and bring that right sole of the foot into the inner thigh, and then find the placement of the blocks for you. Maybe that looks different on one side from the other, maybe you're tighter. And then just go ahead, drop the head. Trying to keep it active, maybe the foot is flexed. And I'm already noticing the difference on this side than the other. Maybe you want to close the eyes, maybe that helps you to keep your focus. And then once again, come back to that breathing pattern and allow your mind to focus on the breathing pattern. And when you can count in your mind, count the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then keep with that. Or maybe it's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Develop a pattern that works for you. Just take a couple more breaths here. starting to feel a difference. Just like in life, when we stick with things a little bit longer and we're patient, we see the change. And that's really beautiful. And we can think about what we're doing here on the mat and applying it to our life. Maybe you're staying with that mantra, I am strong and I am open. And then just go ahead and coming back up. We'll bring the blocks in front. Just wiggle out that leg. Maybe rock it side to side. And this time we're just going to bring the knees out in front. And we're just going to drop the knees to the right and drop the knees to the left. Maybe you're sitting up tall on the spine as much as you can here. The arms are back behind. And we'll take that a couple more times. Just really wagging it out. Feels good, huh? Okay, so let's go ahead and come into our forward fold now. So you can do this however you like. Maybe it needs to be higher when you bring your head down, or maybe you've got more flexibility in your body and you want to bring it lower. But look for sensation, okay? Let's not just look for this to be easy. Let's look for this to work for us. So if this is harder for you, then meet yourself where you're at, okay? Listen to your body. If it's not hard enough, then try taking it down another level, okay? And you can even play with the levels. Maybe you bring the blocks and stack them like this. And maybe the legs come out just slightly wider. Or maybe you take them more narrow. So play around with it. And then when you're ready, we're gonna come into the pose. We're just gonna hold it here for a couple minutes. Now I've got my hands around my feet. You're welcome to do that. Or you can grab them wherever they fall. Maybe that's the ankles or the shins or the knees. You can even wrap them underneath the knees. Just helps to give it a little bit more stability. Helps to hold the pose a little bit longer. And breathe in. And breathe out. Maybe you're with that mantra. Maybe you're inhaling, I am strong. And maybe you're exhaling, I am open. Because when we're strong, we are open. Open to change, open to newness, open to the difference we can feel in our body. And we work on it. And once again, trying to hold the pose for at least a minute. And if you need to come out after a minute, please do so if you're in pain. But know the pain is not the same as sensation. And think about what that feels like for you, because it's going to be different for each one of us. Go ahead and rise back up. And just set the block to side. Maybe this time we're just gonna put the arms back behind us and stretch up. Tuck the glutes together, little reverse tabletop. And just squeeze the glutes together each time you come up. I'll take that one more time. All right. And this time, let's come around and we'll take a quick child's pose. So sink the hips back to the feet, the heels, reach the hands forward, stretch them out. Breathe into the back body and exhale. And then we're gonna come forward. I'm gonna take a couple more poses. So a lot of these are open up the hips We're gonna work some more into the shoulders and the chest now. So we're gonna come up into a camel pose. So you decide if you wanna use blocks. So you can either tuck the toes and grab the heels and hold. If that's not available and that you think that you might not be able to hold that, then you can take the blocks back behind you. And you can even untuck the toes and hold the blocks, as so. So just like this, make sure that they're stable, make sure that you're ready, and then when you're ready, we're gonna find that pose. So drop the hips first to find the pose, and then go ahead and inhale, lift. Opening up through the shoulders, opening up through the chest. Trying to keep it active. Maybe you're trying to keep those glutes engaged and the core engaged, staying with the breath. You're doing great. You should feel this nice in your shoulders and into the hip flexors, into the fronts of the thighs. Opening up that whole front side of the body. And if it's available, you can drop the head if that feels nice on your neck. Stay here, a couple more breaths. Doing great. Deep breath in through the nose and exhale, sink the hips back to the heels. Bring the blocks in front of you. And then we're gonna sink into a bit of a puppy pose, find a little stretch. So go ahead, drop. We'll slide back. You're gonna have to find your stance. So your hands are gonna come on top of your blocks, okay? And you want your knees to stay underneath your hips. And then just sink the forehead down. Now I'm using the blocks to find a deeper stretch. You don't have to use the blocks. Just slide the blocks out of the way and sink the head down, the forehead down. Knees are under the hips, puppy pose. The blocks are just gonna take it a little bit deeper, or you're always welcome to clasp the hands and bend the elbows. Bring the hands back behind the base of the neck. See which one feels the best for you. And then we're just gonna release, sink the hips back, find your child's pose for a moment, and then inhale, come back up. All right, we're gonna find a quick dragon pose. So working into the outer hip, we're gonna bring that right foot forward. So we're gonna have a bit of a low lunge. We're extended a little bit far back on that left knee. We're gonna drive that right foot forward, and then go ahead and bring it out 45 degrees, okay? So our knee is tracing with our foot, and then find your blocks. Now, you can always go down on the forearms if it's available to you, or you can come onto the blocks. And we're gonna stay here for a couple minutes. You can untuck that toe in the back, and just sink into this pose. Find that breath pattern one more time. And you're dropping the head towards the blocks. Maybe you're listening to that audible exhale. Maybe you're even playing some music in the background, something with a nice steady beat that you can follow. 5 more deep breaths. Maybe you're really starting to feel that stretch in the left hip. And just breathe into it. Use that breath. Visually, in your mind, send the breath to that area. Every inhale, you send the breath. Every exhale allows the relaxation. Take one more breath. And then we're going to slowly push up onto the blocks or onto the hands, the forearms, whatever you're on. And then we're going to sink back, wag the hips around from left to right. Set the blocks to the right side of the mat. And we're going to come into a little cobra, so press the hips down. Hands come to the side of you, press up, baby cobra. Engage the core, engage the glutes here, tuck the glutes together. You should feel that stretch in the tops of the thighs. And then we're going to sink back, child's pose. Find that stretch for a moment, and then we're going to come to the other side. So this time, find your low lunge. Take it a little wider or closer. And then we're going to take that foot, walk it up as far as you can, 45 degrees. Angle it out. So my knee is following my toe. And then we're going to go ahead and place our blocks. Come down on our forearms or on the blocks. Untuck the toe in the back and find that stretch. Find that stillness. Find the breath. Once again, focusing on that breath. Maybe you already feel a little bit tighter on this side than the other, or vice versa. But remember to use that breath and send it to that area of tightness and focus. Maybe you can find a spot on the floor in front of you to draw your focus, or maybe you're coming back to that mantra. I am strong, I am open. Maybe you're to the point where you're really thinking about what that means for your body in this moment, what you want it to mean for your body, your desires, your goals, your dreams. And take 5 more deep breaths here. Your next inhale, rise back up onto the blocks or onto the hands. Whatever you use, place the blocks out of the way. Go ahead and shift the hips back. Find your child's pose for just a moment. Maybe puppy pose, whatever feels nice. Maybe a little version of both. Then we're going to come back into that baby cobra. Just drop the hips to the mat. Drop the chest down. Hands come to the sides of the chest body. And then press up. Elbows shoot back. Baby cobra. Tuck those glutes together. Find that stretch in the back of the hips and the glutes. Sink it back one more time, child's pose. Reach it forward. We're gonna come all the way forward to our last pose. There are so many poses that you can do for yin. These are just some of my favorite that I do most days. So we're gonna go ahead and come into kind of that camel pose before. So we're in hero pose. Now you choose. You can stay in this hero pose, and if that's enough for you, it's fine. You can either take a block under your seat. You need to bring it up. If it's too tight, pillow. Use different things that might create a different depth for you. And then go ahead, if you want to take it more, you can bring the blocks back behind you, come down onto the elbows. Maybe that's where you want to stay. Whenever you get there, go ahead and start your breathing. Or maybe you want to take it all the way down. I'm not there yet. If you're not there yet either, you can bring the blocks, make a little tower back behind you so that the back comes onto it. And then you can just drop the head back, or you can put something underneath the head and the neck, or maybe that feels good just where it's at. Play around with it. I'm gonna let you stay there for a couple minutes. I'm gonna keep playing around with mine so that you can see variations. And so maybe you have the option of being all the way down on the floor as well. Try to keep the knees drawing together. If this is too much on the knees, like I said, come back up, find that block under the seat, or you can even place a blanket or a little bit of a rolled towel underneath each knee in between. A little bit of a cushion. And we're just staying here a couple more minutes. Last hard pose, I promise. You've done so well. And hopefully you do feel strong and open now. There's always the option of taking this video a little bit more deep and making the stretches a little bit longer. You can hold any yin pose up from about 2 to 5 minutes comfortably. But listen to your body, what it needs. That's the goal. And it changes from day to day. Maybe we don't need the openness on one day, maybe we need the strength. Some of us that are extremely flexible might need more strength. And finding that balance between strength and flexibility is key. Protects the body, gives us longevity. Should feel a nice opening through the shoulders here as well. You can even open up the arms out. Staying with that breathing pattern. We're going to go ahead to release. Press back up. Hands come back to the back body if you're all the way down. Pressing up. Come up onto the seat. Let's come back to that stretch where we have our heels out and we just wag from side to side. Maybe you want to stay for a moment, find a little stretch, a little twist. Using the breath. That was our last hard pose. You're almost done. We get to rest and rejuvenate now. We're going to come into our last pose, which is more restorative yin. You decide, you can take it, a pillow or a block, and we're just going to place it behind your back. Our legs are going to come out nice in the width of the mat, and then lower back, right the mid back is going to meet the base of the block. And then we're just going to drop our head to the mat, open up through the arms. Nice opening through the chest and the shoulders. A little bit of a modified fish pose. And play around with the block. If you feel like you need to move it further down or further up, remember everybody's body is shaped differently. So what works for some might not work for others. So maybe you even want to turn that block, you know, and try it that way. Maybe that feels better. Maybe that gives you more opening. I love giving options because we are all so very different. Meeting ourselves where we're at. And just breathe into the chest. Not a chest breath, but fill up the whole cavity. So we're starting with the belly, breathing in, just allowing it to all fill up. And then all exhale. Knowing that action of the diaphragm moving back and forth when we inhale and exhale is allowing that movement, creating that space. You know, every exhale, we're pushing up. And every inhale, we're pushing down and out. We're just going to take a couple more breaths here into our practice today. Coming back to that mantra. Breathe in, I am strong. And exhale, I am open. Open to change. Open to newness. Whatever that looks like for you. What does it mean to you? You can stay here if you'd like to stay here a little bit longer. Or if you're ready, you can come back up to your seated position. And I hope that you feel amazing today and have a wonderful day. Namaste.